Welcome to your daily stock market summary from MarketSnap. Hey everyone, I'm thrilled to have you back for another deep dive into the wild world of markets. Today's got a lot to unpack with geopolitical tensions shaking things up, but also some intriguing opportunities for us long-term investors to chew on. Let's jump right into the action and see what's driving Wall Street on March 2nd, 2026. First up, the big story dominating headlines is the escalating conflict in the Middle East. U.S. and Israeli strikes on Iran over the weekend have rattled markets, with uncertainty about oil supply disruptions through the Strait of Hormuz sending shockwaves through energy prices. Oil and gas spiked hard early on, though some analysts are already calling for a potential de-escalation, which could cool off those gains. For us long-term folks, this is a reminder to keep an eye on energy exposure. Volatility like this can create buying opportunities if prices overreact. Let's check the pulse of the major indexes amidst this chaos. Despite the geopolitical noise, the market showed some resilience today. The S&P 500 eked out a tiny gain, barely budging but staying in positive territory. The Nasdaq, fueled by tech strength, climbed a bit more noticeably, while the Dow took a small hit, reflecting some broader caution. Volatility is definitely up, with the VIX jumping significantly, signaling investor nerves. For long-term investors, these mixed signals suggest staying steady. Don't let short-term jitters derail your strategy. Zooming in on the S&P 500, we're seeing a bit of a seesaw pattern lately. After a flat start to the year, the index is hovering in a tight range, and some analysts are wondering if this Iran conflict could be the catalyst for a breakout or a breakdown. As long-term players, we know these ranges often resolve with time, so patience is key. Over on the Nasdaq, tech continues to be a mixed bag. While some big names are holding strong, there's a noticeable rotation out of tech into other sectors like energy and defense, driven by the Middle East situation. This could be a short-term shift times, but it's worth watching if you're heavy on tech in your portfolio. Diversification might be your friend right now. Now let's talk winners. Among large caps, we've got some standout performers today. Palantir Technologies surged nearly 6%, continuing to ride high on data analytics demand. Defense stocks like Northrop Grumman also popped over 6%, no surprise given the Iran conflict news. Energy names like Valero and Marathon Petroleum were up strong too, benefiting from those oil price jumps. These short-term gains are exciting, but for us long-term investors, it's about whether these sectors can sustain momentum beyond the headlines. On the flip side, some big names took a hit. Berkshire Hathaway dropped close to 5%, likely tied to weaker quarterly results that disappointed investors. Health insurance giant Elevance Health slumped over 8%, reflecting sector-specific pressures. And Ford Motor slid nearly 5%, possibly on broader cyclical concerns. For long-term holders, these dips could be entry points if fundamentals remain solid. Don't let the noise scare you off. Looking at the market movers, Nvidia continues to dominate trading activity with a solid gain today, showing that even with some AI fatigue, it's still a heavyweight. Apple and Tesla had more muted moves, but they're still on investors' radars. Petrobras also caught attention with a nice uptick, tied to energy sector strength. These names are often the pulse of the market, so for us long-term investors, they're benchmarks to watch for broader trends. Diving into the most active stocks by volume, Nvidia again leads the pack, showing how much interest remains in tech despite rotations. Netflix and Ford also saw heavy trading, reflecting mixed sentiment in their respective sectors. High volume often signals where the action is, so keep an eye on these for potential short-term plays within your long-term framework. Shifting gears to earnings, this week's calendar is packed with names to watch. We've got heavyweights like Nvidia, Intuit, and Home Depot reporting, which could set the tone for tech and retail sectors. Bank of Nova Scotia and Royal Bank of Canada are also on deck, giving us a peek into financials. After last week's mixed results from companies like Berkshire Hathaway, which missed estimates, the stakes are high. For us long-term investors, earnings are a window into company health. Focus on guidance over single-quarter noise. You can find exclusive earnings transcript summaries on MarketSnap. Peaking at the top performers over the past week among large caps, Garmin led with a massive 21% jump, showing strength in consumer tech. Lumentum Holdings wasn't far behind with nearly 15% gains, boosted by AI-related optics demand. AppLovin and Shopify also posted double-digit gains, hinting at a tech rebound. These weekly movers can signal emerging trends for us to consider in our long-term portfolios. On the other end, some large caps struggled over the week. Genuine Parts Company tanked over 20%, hit by sector challenges. Rivian Automotive and Blue Owl Capital also saw double-digit losses, reflecting broader EV and financial sector pressures. These weekly declines might offer value plays if you believe in their long-term stories. Sector-wise, industrials topped the charts with a solid gain over the past week, up nearly 2%, driven by defense and infrastructure plays amid the Iran news. Consumer cyclical and real estate also showed strength. For long-term investors, these sector moves can guide where to overweight or rebalance your holdings. On the weaker side, healthcare lagged with a noticeable drop, pressured by specific company disappointments. Utilities and financials also dipped slightly, reflecting risk-off sentiment. These underperformers might be worth a second look if you're hunting for contrarian long-term bets. That's a wrap for today's stock market summary from MarketSnap. Thanks for tuning in, and I hope you're as pumped as I am to keep navigating these markets together. Make sure to stick with us for daily updates, deep dive SWOT analyses, and all the tools you need to build lasting wealth. Hit that subscribe button, and I'll see you tomorrow for more market magic.